Oh, we're name dropping. By the way, this is the Facial Recognition Comedy Podcast. I'm Fizza Dasani, and I'm with our audio engineer.
What's up, Paul Antonio?
There, okay, yeah, I was just waiting for you to introduce.
He didn't follow me back, so I won't name drop, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, fuck that guy.
No.
He's cool.
He still has a window.
Send him love. Send him love. Yeah. We'll call Zara later. Pallavi is unavailable today, so but hopefully she'll be back next week. Yeah, so we're good. Like, it's good to be here. I'm glad you joined the podcast because I was like, what am I gonna do? To like sit here and talk to myself, which is something I'm comfortable with. Maybe we should try that another time, but it's good to catch up. I just got back to LA. I was in San Francisco, and right when I got back Sunday, and right when I landed, it was around 10 a.m., which, as everyone already knows, was around the time the helicopter crash happened with Kobe and the other 8 passengers, one of them being his daughter.
Yeah.
So that was pretty shocking because I didn't hear about it until I got home about 2 hours later.
Yeah, it was heavy. I was here. It's funny about the studio is when a person comes in and their guest flakes or something, I'm like, you have a comic, like, as the audio engineer.
Yeah,
anyways,
dude.
And somebody who's used to like doing podcasts and everything. So, I mean, I'm never, it's never a problem to fill in. But
and you live in the area, so this is something that I mean, Kobe's had a illustrious 20-year career in the NBA, and you're in your 20s and have followed sports a lot. So, I mean, I know men who were very open about crying, and that's a big deal, I think, in this society when men admit to. Yeah, I think it's a great thing.
Kobe
connect to their feelings, but
Kobe was my generation's Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just there's no other way to say it. And the average age in the NBA right now is 26.
Yeah.
And I'm 26. So imagine the professionals. I don't know how they played yesterday.
Yeah.
Because they had games yesterday, and actually tomorrow night.
There were some games. I think they said they kept about 12 games or something.
Yeah.
12 games.
The only game that they canceled was it was going to be Clippers versus Lakers.
Yeah.
At Staples Center.
And it's how can you play under those conditions? I mean, this is it's just such a tragic, devastating loss. Like, Kobe himself was extremely young, 41. But then later to find out that a child was on there, and then other children, her teammates, and then that teammates, both their parents, it's so awful.
Yeah, this was a shocker. I was in a recording session.
Yeah.
Here at the studio, and as I'm getting the news, the 2 hosts are, laughing about whatever they're talking about. And obviously I couldn't stop the show to tell them, so I just let them go. So for about 30 minutes, I'm sitting in the corner just, I felt like I got punched in the stomach. And they're just laughing, talking about their thing, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as the episode ended, I told them, I said, hey, do you guys want a punch in the stomach? They looked at me, they're like, what? And apparently they thought that I was going to tell them that I forgot to record it. Like, that's what they were waiting for.
Yeah.
I was like, Kobe just died. And
it's shocking.
To drop that news, especially, we live in a new age of information where everybody's getting it instantly. TMZ got it before even the investigator.
I heard it.
Vanessa.
That is because instantly, like when I heard of, when you hear about the accident, my mind went to her because I think, they've been together since high school, and now they're in their, he passed when he was 41. Maybe I think she was a couple years younger or a year or something. So this was the only lover she's ever had. They have 4 children and a newborn. It's just so sad.
And, it's a weird time in comedy.
Yeah.
Because, we're tasked, comedians are always tasked with, making people feel better and doing all this stuff. But
I had a show that night. I had a show last night. This happened last night.
How did it go?
It went well. It actually went well. We acknowledged it, but everyone wanted to have a good time. And it was like, for LA comedy standards, it was an excellent show. It felt like being in New York.
Yeah.
So I actually, I going there, I had, I was feeling hesitant. I wasn't really even in a mood to do comedy because it's such heavy, tragic, awful news. It's just sad news. And then getting there, it just, I did feel better. It was nice, and like I didn't have any jokes about it. I don't want to tell jokes about it.
Yeah, it's a sensitive, especially in LA,
Yeah,
which Kobe was LA. You know, if you look at
Yeah.
the icons of, I mean, look at the Grammys happened that night, and it was completely overshadowed.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
yeah. The crazy thing is, the Grammys happened at the Staples Center.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they continue. Well, I mean, it's so hard to cancel such a big production, and they managed to get some Kobe tributes together. But like people were gathering outside of the Staples Center, outside on the screens of the Staples Center. They were, I think remembering Kobe.
And what he meant to the city. Because if you knew Kobe early in his career, he was very easy to hate. He was the villain because he was a self-absorbed, self-obsessed, like just narcissist. We know a couple.
And a kid. He was a kid.
And it was a kid.
So it wasn't.
But he was this guy who just, focused on winning, shit talked his coaches, shit talked his teammates, did a lot of things that people didn't respect. And they were like, who is this kid? But towards the end, to see what he turned into,
His growth
as a person, and obviously there was the incident in Colorado.
And, I think, obviously, believe women, but I also don't think, just canceling people off the worst thing they've done when every moment's infinite potential to evolve and be better and do better. I think that's so, it's very black and white, cut and dry, and I think we have to look at his life in totality.
Yeah. Especially since everybody became experts in the field all of a sudden.
Yeah.
They were like, well, this is, and I had to calm some people down and talk to some people, and I tried not to delete people over it because I was like, yes, it is too far, but let me just reach out to them via Messenger or whatever, something private, and explain to them, hey, this is my point of view on it. Why do you have this point of view on it? A lot of people, too, that just instantly called him out on my posts,
Yeah.
saying, he's a rapist, though. I have no sympathy for a rapist, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but the man's kid died with him.
Yeah.
And not only that, 7 other innocent people died.
And it's just, well, I didn't follow the incident, the rape incident. Was it, confirmed that that's what happened? Because I know the survivor didn't testify, and I think they ended up settling out of court in a civil suit.
Yeah, so the only way that we would truly know all the facts is if it went to trial.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way we're going to know.
So this is sort of based on an assumption. Yeah, like obviously the young woman felt uncomfortable with what happened, but, it can be, like with the Aziz situation, how a lot of people wrote that off as a bad day. I don't know. I didn't follow it, so I can't really comment much, but, I think it is, to me, it's a little odd that someone so young would die with his child and other children, and he was on his way to like coach a basketball game, and then it just doesn't seem like the appropriate day to shit on him.
Yeah, I mean, we live in the era of wokeness, and where everybody's kind of trying to out-woke each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the motivation is. And I did talk to a comedian who was posting about that, right? And
Yeah.
I wrote my response to his. He commented on somebody's post, and I wrote my response, and he gave me a very shitty response back. So I private messaged him, and I said, "Hey, let's talk this out." And he kept saying, "Well, what if that was your daughter that got raped? What if that was your daughter that got raped?" I said, "Listen, we are so quick to insert our personal information to fill in the gaps of information that's provided. We don't know all the details. We don't know what happened. The only way we know what happens if it went to trial, it didn't go to trial. She received a settlement and then refused to testify.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's by intimidation or whether that's on her own merit or whether she did just want the finance, you don't know. We can't speculate."
Well, that's the thing also, is I don't think one action defines someone. I don't think the worst thing what if we were all defined by the worst thing we've done?
Oh yeah, we're fine.
Like if it was just on our sleeve, like we wore like a scarlet letter. Yeah, it's just, people are so, this wokeness, people are so quick to jump to judgment. And also, like, my sadness, a lot of it comes from, a family lost, like, kids lost their father and a sister on the same day. A woman lost her husband and a child, and in a horrible way, in a really horrible way. And they didn't rape anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to say that, he did or didn't. You know, I don't know. Like, I'm not a big sports fan, so I never really followed it.
Yeah. To see him at his lowest low,
Yeah.
which was what, 2003 is when this happened. To
Yeah.
see his growth to now was inspiring.
And you know what? I think those sort of things, like fertilizer is made out of shit. That incident, maybe that is, you know, he was able to learn from that and become a better person. I mean, he seemed to certainly love his children.
Loved his children. He had 4 daughters. And, I mean, he was such a huge, just pro women in anything. Like, the biggest supporter of the WNBA. He just, a couple days ago, they caught him. I don't know if it was TMZ that caught him, but they said they were talking to him about the WNBA. And he came out and said, hey, some of those players could ball in the regular NBA.
I love that.
And he was a champion of that. He was a champion of females achieving and just doing all that. But, I mean, that comes, too, with having 4 daughters.
Yeah. So, I mean, your perspective changes.
Yeah. So
when you have, I mean, you have, I would imagine that a man can sort of understand the female experience and those challenges when you have the concern of your own daughter, someone you love so much, having to go through that. So
exactly. I mean, we all, if you look at anybody, even like, you know, conservative politicians who were anti-gay marriage until their kid came out to them. Once you know somebody, it kind of makes it a little easier to push for them.
Yeah, I mean, and I know, like, you know, maybe when in the woke world, it's annoying. That's like, well, why couldn't you just have the empathy? And it's just like, well, you know, if they don't, they don't. Mm-hmm. You know, the cards are dealt as they are, and we can only go forward.
But here's the problem with that, and it is kind of like, well, if that's their response, it doesn't matter. Well, the people who are making these comments right now, it is not just the families that are in mourning.
Yeah.
It's not just the families. It's LA.
Yeah.
It's the entire city. I mean,
it's just a tragic, awful thing to happen. It seems like it could have been preventable, so it truly was just an accident.
Yeah, but when you comment on my post, being a fan that is in mourning, you're saying it to my face, which is where this differs from like telling a joke on stage.
And it's inappropriate.
Super
if you're
inappropriate.
a fan in mourning, you're upset about something. Yeah, it's, you know, it's not someone's place to put that on your personal post.
And people are comparing this to like, what, we can't say jokes anymore, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, listen, when you say a joke on stage, you take a risk on stage. Look at Louis with the Parkland shooters, right?
Yeah.
He said that at the Comedy Store. He said that live. It wasn't recorded. I mean, it leaked, but it was to that audience, right?
Yeah.
This is the equivalent of him saying it to the families.
Yeah.
You know, because in this community, there is no bigger celebrity in LA than Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
There isn't.
It's stunning news. It's just stunning news, and we're like right here at the epicenter of, you know, like it's, you know, have you seen, like, I think there's a mural of Kobe on Melrose, and people were, I think, putting up memorials there. I haven't seen it, but my roommate
was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like drove by. I think they were doing a shoot there. And
yeah. So, I mean, my word of advice is just for anybody that has an opinion, and that's all it is just an opinion on the matter, just to approach it with sensitivity. And you can say whatever you want, you know, but
there's going to be potentially blowback from, if you're going to say something that's going to piss people off, then people will probably get pissed off, right?
You have a right to say it, and people have a right to react whatever way that they feel is possible, which is why, the most egregious example of that is Ari Shafir's tweet that went viral. Yeah,
that was, it was deleted by the time I got around to looking for it. Mm-hmm. But, what was the timeline? Because I know it was a few hours or an hour later until we found out, like, you know, there were kids on board.
Which is a good time to retract it. When you post something that is maybe like this, and then the full details come out, and it turns out to be much more tragic than it actually is. And then instead of retracting it, you double down.
Well, what did he say? He got hacked?
No, that was a fake, or that wasn't a fake thing, but he was making fun of people who say they got hacked.
Yeah, he didn't really get hacked.
No, because as soon as he posted that he got hacked, he posted a video to Instagram saying, you know, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I saw that video.
Basically, just today is a great fucking day.
And this was after he got the blowback and the pushback from his tweet.
He got it immediately. you know.
But he went and did the video on top of that.
And you know, as his friends, such as like Bert Kreischer, were posting their tributes to Kobe, he was commenting on them and saying, "Today is a great fucking day," on all those tributes.
It seems like he has. So it sounds kind of personal.
Yeah.
For him to be, you know, that thrilled, because even if someone, to me, I don't like the death penalty. Like, you know, and it's like, it just, I don't really celebrate death.
Yeah.
I don't
death,
like that.
Death should not be celebrated.
I mean, like, I'll celebrate the life of someone once they pass, but like, you know, just like, yay, their life is like that. I don't. So it's just, why did he go there? You know, how did he go straight to this is a wonderful fucking day? Like, that's.
And he's not free of sin. This is what blows my mind, is of all people to be talking their shit, for Ari Shaffir to come out and say this, and he just drugged his friend. You know, he drugged Bird on a podcast. It was a very controversial move.
Oh,
where he drugged him with Molly, and did not tell him.
That's fucked up.
Which, he did it for the joke. He did it for the laughs, but Bert talks about how it prevented him from basically hanging out with his children before he had to leave on a tour for like a week or whatever, however amount of time he was leaving.
So it was really irresponsible. I think throughout Ari's career, he's had a lot of controversy. Like, I remember a few years ago, he had a joke about another comic, Damien. So there's another comic, she's I think missing half an arm or something, and he made a joke about that was hurtful to her, and I just remember that became very controversial as well, because I think he was a larger public figure. You know, she didn't have as much of a platform to respond. I think even did Eliza Schlesinger say something in defense of Damien, even though she's friends with Ari.
Yeah, people must, and it comes down to how you're using your platform, and it's cool. I will defend his right to tell jokes about whoever he wants to tell about. You know,
of course.
He's been guest on Legion of Skanks. I listen to Legion of Skanks. It's
as a comic, I don't want to censor anybody.
Yeah,
but I was just like seeing him say that. I'm like, oof, like
it's not a joke.
Like
it's not that what he said, the way that he worded it. And so I have a degree in organizational communication. I study communication. Back in college. The communication is just, and this is a little quote unquote scientific, but communication is just encoding and decoding messages.
Yeah.
When I say something to you, I'm encoding it and you're decoding it, right?
Yeah, well, language is a symbol. Language is completely a symbol. It's, you know, it's never going to be as approximate as the exact thought. Yeah,
so when an objective decoding of that message is, this isn't a joke.
Yeah.
Is it really a joke? What was the intention behind it? It didn't come across, even to me as a comic, did not come across as he was intending to tell a joke.
He just seemed like he was joyful, and I think that's where it's a little confusing, because it's, you know, that raises the red flag. Were there comedians who were responding to him?
LA comedians. It's become, I mean, not to promote this, but it really is creating a divide in terms of, you know, what Kobe meant to the black community, what Kobe meant to the Mexican community, what Kobe meant to the ethnic community. It seems to be different than what it meant, not to all, but to some white
It feels racist.
It feels very racist. And the thing that I noticed is a lot of the comics coming out and talking their shit or whatever, they seem to be of a certain flavor. You know, they seem to be of a certain type.
A certain wokeness.
But these are also, like, it all comes down to people not getting checked. I'm like, if you come from a community where nobody would, you know, you didn't have to risk a punch in the face or something like that for saying something stupid. You know, in the communities that a lot of us come from, especially, you know, myself coming from Pomona, if you said that, people have been shot for a lot less. Yeah. You know, and you kind of...
Well, it's extremely disrespectful, and disrespect can, you know, it can trigger people to doing some crazy shit. Or some extreme, I don't want to say crazy, I don't want to put a judgment on it, but some extreme stuff. And so, like, basically what he put out was fighting words. Those are fighting words.
And he's got to catch it. He's got to catch it with whoever approaches him. And he was hacked. Ari was hacked. And they took his personal information. They're posting his address. They're doing a lot of things that are very dangerous to him. You know? So a lot of New York comics came out and said, basically, you know, this is not right. He tried to tell a joke. Why are you releasing his public information to these people, right?
Well, I think they might still be sensitive about the Dina Hashem situation, which was different. She had a joke it referenced a slain rapper, but the rapper was not the butt of the joke. But a lot of young people took offense and did a similar thing. They hacked. They put her mom's address out, and and that was devastating for her. I'm sure.
And this is such a minimal situation compared to that, because like I said, I will defend.
Well,
Dina.
This is the day of. Like, this is an
Day
hour. The hour of, I think, is when he posted it, right?
Day of, to the faces of the people that loved him the most.
Yeah.
LA sports fans are some of the most passionate. I mean, look at all these. You see cholos with LA tattoos and all this stuff. It's real. The love for especially the Lakers. As a Clipper fan, the Lakers.
Yeah.
I've almost had to fight because I'm a Clipper fan. I haven't instigated it.
Yeah.
I'm just wearing a jersey or wearing a hat. Hey, bro, that's Clippers. I don't know, man.
So it's fighting words. He was like, but do you think he expected that kind of response? I mean, he knew.
He wanted it.
Yeah.
He wanted that kind of response. But what I don't think he realized, which is a very privileged and a very white privileged thing, is you live in this world where the worst thing that somebody can do is try to cancel you. Where a lot of us live in this world where the worst thing you could do is if you disrespect someone and they kill you. That's the difference. Ari has never had to deal with somebody threatening his life to his face and meaning it.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas people who, if you talk to any black comic, if you talk to a lot of Latino comics, they come from places where if you said the wrong thing to somebody's cousin, that guy was leaving and coming back with a strap.
Yeah, no, I like having grown up in Florida and gone to public school my whole life. It's just like what the line is between respect and disrespect, and people get jumped. People got jumped in school every day. So there was, and I've seen guns too. It's like, I guess if you're not if there's no consequence, then how would you learn?
Exactly.
So he's pushing. Obviously, he was pushing a boundary, but he maybe didn't realize what kind of Pandora's box he was opening up.
Yeah, and there's a certain privilege that comes with being in the industry.
Yeah.
Not to say that we all didn't have hard lives or whatever, some more than others, but we have to realize that we're privileged enough to work in an industry where we get to entertain people, we get to do things that we consider fun.
Yeah.
And we get to get paid for it. Even if you're the starving artist that lives in his car, at least at the end of the night, you're all equal on the same stage.
Yeah.
For the most part. So I was disgusted by it, and I would never wish violence upon anybody.
Yeah.
I'm never going to wish violence upon Ari, but I know if something goes down, we're not going to defend him either. He has to deal with, there's a saying, it says, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah. It's just, I could, I was pretty shocked that he just put that out there and not give a fuck, especially, but maybe that's his brand.
It is his brand, but there is.
But it's very it's.
He's never done this, and not only that, there's never been a situation to do this.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that was a family member to everybody, was an uncle. Last night I'm putting trying to get my nephew to go to sleep. He's a little hyper.
Yeah.
And he is just kind of playing around laughing, and I looked into my nephew's eyes and I started tearing up because I was like, this is a child.
Yeah.
Kobe had the same relationship with his daughter,
Oh, yeah, that's where it becomes heartbreaking, is just forget about the past, the future, whatever. In those moments, a father was with his child knowing that, if parents supposed to protect their child and knowing that you can't do anything and you guys might die together. Or there was a whole other family on board, two parents and a child. Like, that's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, and just to be, especially a strong black father, strong father of color.
Yeah.
Just to see the love that he gave his family, and the clip that I had to post this on my Instagram when I heard, because this was the image that when I think of Kobe, I will always remember this image, which is him at a Laker game with his daughter, next to his daughter, breaking down the plays that are happening on, because his daughter was a rising basketball star.
That was that was such a beautiful picture, because it's just, you can really, the love between them is so palpable.
Yeah, especially coming from a situation where, I want to be a better father to my kids than my father was to me.
Yeah.
It hits a little closer to home, because you see I'm not to speculate into his father's relationship with him, but if you know Kobe, he was born in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Then his father signed overseas in Italy, and he moved to Italy
Yeah.
so that his father could play professional ball. So he lived kind of he didn't have a home base. He kind of moved all over the place, and he provided that home base for his kids. He provided the stability that he probably didn't have as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed to really value his family, and there seemed to be a lot of love there. And the thing with love, like, like that, it's just in time and space, nothing's forever. So it's just, there's going to be loss, but you just, I hope to never have to experience what Vanessa and the surviving kids are, experiencing that type of loss. That's how, it's just like, how do you move forward? And then initially CBS, or was it CBS, one of the networks misreported that all of the children were on the plane.
I think it was ABC or someone that said that the 4 daughters were,
and well, then the youngest is less than a year. It's a new, so that's, that it's like, we get the Kobe news, but then to hear that, it's like, Jesus, how can it?
Yeah, I think 4 months old.
Yeah, or 6, something. It's very young, like fresh.
And they reported that. So the initial report was that Kobe had died in a helicopter crash with his 4 daughters and Rick Fox, which is...
Yeah, I heard about Rick Fox, which is so random.
So random, So that went, and then...
And Rick's fine. Rick was confirmed fine.
Rick's cool. Although that was the first time I heard his name in a while, so I was happy to hear him.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
He's a silver fox.
Yeah.
His fine ass.
His actor, this actor, man. But everybody's so quick to try and get the scoop that all these things... I mean, it's a game of telephone. Plus, the most disgusting thing is you have somebody on the floor who maybe they're a first responder, maybe they're just a friend of the families, whoever, giving these anonymous tips. The first person to report it was TMZ. That was the first thing to put it out there. And I checked when TMZ broke it. I immediately checked everywhere, and I could not find a single thing. So TMZ was the one that broke it.
They broke the story.
And they broke it with some false information. The initial report came out, said that Kobe and 3 other people had died in a helicopter crash. That was the first report that they put out.
Yeah, so it was the number of people. They didn't have that.
Yeah, and then they said his 4 daughters, and then they said, we are confirming that his 4 daughters were not on board. And that was a sigh of relief.
Yeah, but then to find out
out that one was, and not only that.
Because if it was the 4, then Vanessa was not on. How do you go on after that?
And Vanessa was at the facility waiting for them. That's another layer to this. The Vanessa was already at the facility waiting for them. Once again, speculation, but I don't think you can you fly with a 3-month-old or 4-month-old?
That's what I was thinking. It didn't make sense to have a child that young and because it's loud. I don't think I've been in a helicopter, and I don't know that I want to unless I need to. Mm-hmm. But now, especially, like, it's...
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's
awful.
It's tragic, and
Should we call Zara?
Let's call Zara.
Yeah.
So we can
get her take on this.
How's
my flashlight on? Yeah, I mean, it's just shocking because it's like I was just coming into LA, and it was just weird to be.
Oh, hold up, I'm starting a group chat. My bad.
It was just weird to, come from flying and to hear about such an awful accident.
I was on my way in listening to sports radio.
Yeah.
And of course, they were reporting on it. Your flashlight's still on, by the way.
Oh,
of course, they were reporting on it, but I was like, you know what? I've had enough of this. I need to turn it to something else, and I turned to Power 106.
Yeah.
And they ended up. The DJ came on, and he's like, "So we're gonna play Kobe Short in its entirety."
Yeah.
They played it in its entirety, and when they came back, the DJs were crying, and they couldn't speak on the radio. They couldn't speak. It's like, just in case you want to know.
Well, it's like, even if you don't know. Oh, we're doing FaceTime. Is this gonna be on the
No, it's
not.
My
God!
I did it by accident.
FaceTiming me.
I did it by accident.
Hi.
So wait, can like the YouTube people hear Zara?
They can hear it, yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Oh, anything in the headphones? Can you hear it?
What's up?
I can hear it from the phone.
Makeup.
Oh, here.
This sucks. Hello.
Yeah, so we were talking about Kobe.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just freaking tragic. I mean, I've been dealing with crying Kobe fans for the past 24 hours or more now.
Mm-hmm.
It's really sad.
Yeah, big loss for Los Angeles. Huge loss.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big loss for Los Angeles. I think like a lot of people are like still conflicted about it, you know,
Well,
like because of the history, you know, with the allegations, or really it was a court case that then got settled out of court and then a settlement out of civil court. But yeah, I mean, I saw him play live. I was kind of a Kobe hater for a long time because I'm a Knicks fan, so we're delusional anyway. But it was so I was just like raised to not be a Laker hater, and in addition to being a Laker hater, you're a Kobe hater.
yeah.
So I and then the whole sexual assault thing happened, so I was like, all right, I kind of wrote him off. And then I saw him play again. I was in Miami during one of the NBA finals, and the Miami Heat were playing the Lakers, and I was able to go to a game, and the Lakers lost really badly. I mean, it was like a tough loss. And after the game was over, everybody was leaving. Kobe was the only player on the floor, and he was just doing like 3-pointers. He was just doing like practice shots and jump shots. And after a loss like that, like any normal person would have just gone to the locker room, showered, and gotten the fuck out of there. But this guy was like, he was just another level of like, he would never quit. Like, I had to respect him after that. Like,
Yeah.
forget about how I feel as a person towards him, but like, he was just another level of work ethic, and just he had so much love and passion for the game. I I felt bad for the guy a little bit because basketball is the only thing that guy cared about. Honestly, it was something to watch. It really was.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I don't follow
yeah.
sports, but I do think that most people are capable of redemption, and I don't know what happened. I remember the controversy. I remember it was a big deal. I didn't follow it, but it's just it just seems inappropriate for people to, like a wife just lost a husband and a daughter, children just lost a father and a sister, and that's tragic. I don't care who it is, that's tragic.
Yeah, I mean, there's 9 people lost their lives over like a tragic freak accident, and it's children, parents, people are left widowed, people are left without a parent. In some cases, like there's the baseball coach.
Yeah.
So him, his wife, and their daughter, who was on the team with GiGi, they all died. I think there's another child that's like left without a family,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's two. She had a sister and a
there's
brother.
two.
Mm.
Yeah, so I mean, it's so crazy. And yeah, there's a lot of controversy around like Ari Shafir just started like bringing up on Twitter and stuff,
Did you see that?
Yeah, and then he claimed he was hacked, but
But that was a joke, I think he
It
was
was
being
it was a
sarcastic.
joke. It was sarcasm.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's just it's, I don't know. It's I
Y-
don't think it's a time to be like bringing out people's flaws when so many people are really like, you
Mourning.
know, grieving. Yeah, for sure. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but like, I think everyone has the right to, respond how they want to respond, but that's whatever response that's going to trigger in other people, like they have that right too. So, Ari has the right to say what he wants. I think it's very disrespectful, and that's not how I would respond, but people are going to get pissed and he's going to have to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is very on brand for him because he is
Yeah.
like the notoriously douchebag. So I don't think he really cares or filters through a lot of those things when he does a lot of his douchebag stuff. So I don't know.
I
I don't
will
know. I'm
say
not.
I will say that he's not safe in LA. At least for the time being, he's not safe
Well,
in
yeah,
LA.
because you remember they were releasing like Dina's information when she made that joke about exit. So Paul was saying that his address is out now,
They
and
did the same thing to him, which he's in
Yeah.
New York right now, I believe.
Luckily,
I
I
think
hope
he's
he's
in New
safe
York.
there. The thing is, like, what Ari did was not a joke. So this is like kind of separate from what Dina did, because Dina,
yeah,
that was like a joke, a stand-up set
yeah,
at
Ari,
Comedy Central. This was this like Ari was just creating noise.
Yeah.
He was just creating noise. It was his opportunity to create noise. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the backlash might be, I don't know, merited.
I mean, do you
Like,
think he was legitimately happy, or he was just trying to be controversial?
I don't think he was happy because, like, I mean, that would make him like kind of diabolical
But
about
that's
it, you know? Like,
but
you're
that
really,
was, yeah, that would,
no.
that'd be sociopathic. But like that's how it came across, is that he seemed to be happy.
Well, I believe
I don't know. I
I
mean,
think he's a Knicks fan. No, but not even to be joking. But not to
no,
be
I'm a
joking,
Knicks
but he is a lifelong Kobe hater too.
Hmm.
But he isn't as mature as everybody else who is, joining in. I mean, every Knicks fan I know is sad. Every Knicks fan I
Well,
know is
yeah,
sad.
I mean, every basketball fan around the world is sad. Like, it's a tragic. Like, I will say, I mean, I was a Kobe hater. Like, in New York, you're raised to be an LA, like a Laker hater, you
It's you're
know.
right.
And
It's a
Kobe,
big rivalry.
it's a big rivalry, but at the same time, like, forgetting about like the regional rivalries and stuff, it's like, even if you don't like the team or whatever, like, if you know like if Tom Brady dies, where everyone's going to be upset because that's tragic, you know? Like, it's the same thing if Kobe dies, if A-Rod or
Derek
Derek Jeter,
Jeter. Derek
you know,
Jeter's a big one. Yeah.
yeah, if any of these, if Michael Jordan dies, you know, it's like all of these people, like, if they're untimely, they would be untimely tragic deaths that would like take a big toll on any sports fan, you know, any sports fan around the world would be grieving. So I don't, I don't know. I just think everybody is probably at a state of shock, and as a human being, it's a very sad, tragic event. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, anyone losing their life and families being devastated, multiple families being devastated,
Yeah.
that's very sad. You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't it you know, and it's just more people are affected because he's a mega celebrity, and so a lot of people feel like they lost family.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's a mega celebrity that I think Barack Obama had the best tweet, which was basically like, you know, he was an amazing sportsman and an amazing person, but he was his second act was just getting started, and it
Yeah.
was starting with such steam and such like goodness, and there was so much goodness coming out of it that like everybody was very excited to see what he was going to do next, you know? So it's just sad that his life was cut short that way, and his daughter, you know,
Yeah.
like what? It's so sad. It's a very sad situation.
Yeah, he seemed to be an ever evolving person.
Yeah.
So he was, and someone who valued growth and
Yeah.
progress,
Yeah.
personal progress, and
He's on the path of redemption.
He was.
If not already redeemed, but he was definitely on the path of redemption.
Yeah. I mean, with the whole like Mamba Academy and stuff, like he was doing stuff to empower women. Like
yeah.
his daughter, he was empowering his daughters to be, as great, if not greater athletes than him. So it's just, it's sad. It's sad that he didn't, the whole thing is sad.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I can't, I don't want to criticize anyone for bringing up the rape allegations, or whatever they were, but it's still like that is something that happened, and this is also very sad. You know.
Yeah.
It's not. This is not the. In no world is this the payment for that crime. You know, as people are, and I straight up saw people celebrating his death. I mean, other than Ari, but
Who
people.
was celebrating? Ari's the only one I thought
I
that
have
was
a couple. I have a couple on my page that sent me nice little comments on my posts.
So the basis of their celebration is it related to the rape
Yeah,
allegation?
it was good. A rapist gets his comeuppance, if you will.
Yeah.
Like
So,
he got what was coming to him. Karma's a bitch. That kind of shit.
so I guess it's just maybe some people are, I don't know what their experience is, and I know from experience rape is horrific,
hmm
but it's, yeah, I can't speak, maybe for whatever reason they were holding on to that anger and resentment, but
Yeah,
it's to me, I just see like families being devastated, like this getting the worst possible fucking news you can ever get, and that's
no matter how you feel,
very sad.
there's a tragic component to this. No matter what side you are on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we weren't in that hotel room, and I mean, all like legally things were settled. So I don't know. Like the case has been over for a long time, you know. So maybe we're all harboring more feelings about it than what may have actually happened. I'm not one to speak about the victim, but like this incident is not related to that incident, you know?
Yeah, and that's so I think it's interesting when that is being brought up, because even Ari brought that up as well. I think Ari.
But his timing was off. That's what I didn't like. Was this case happened 17 years ago?
Yeah.
But he said that it happened 23 years too late or something, which would indicate when basically his first year in the NBA. That's what I didn't get either.
Yeah, it was confusing. I think his numbers seemed off.
I was like, oh, you wish death on an 18-year-old? Because that's essentially what he did. If you said, because his words were, this came 23 years too late. So it's like 23 years ago, he was an 18-year-old first year.
He was a rookie.
Yeah, second-year player, first-year player.
Yeah.
Around that time.
Well, I think like an inability to value life is sort of sociopathic.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not able to have empathy for the pain and the tragic loss of life, it's kind of a red flag, I guess. Basically, what I'm saying is I don't want to date Ari Shaffir.
It's off your list.
Honestly, I don't know anyone who really does want to. And the way that like Natasha Leggero has talked about him on different podcasts and stuff, it just seems like he's like a really big douchebag, and he's just not nice to women. So
I mean, at Kill Tony 3 weeks ago, he was naked on stage. Just walked out naked on stage.
Like
I just
dingling and everything.
Yeah, just dick out on stage to a sold out main room who was there to see Kill Tony. Like he just did it to interrupt the show, and it's like, well, who? If the females, and I know you can. It's not illegal because you could put under cabaret or whatever. You could say that it was a
but
performance.
they weren't. But that's the thing, is they weren't going to a cabaret show.
Yeah,
they weren't a comedy show.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's a component to that there. It's like if you have such a problem with this rape, it's like you've done a lot of questionable things yourself.
Yeah,
sir.
you're showing your penis to a bunch of women who don't necessarily want to see your. Like, was it big?
And drugging Bert Kreischer?
Yeah, that's fine.
He drugged, yeah, that's another thing. He drugged another person without, like, it's just, he is just a notorious douchebag. Like, that's who he is. And I don't know. Honestly, he's just outed himself more publicly of who he is as a person.
Yeah,
so
truly.
Yeah, so you either love him, like, it's not. He's out for the court of public opinion right now. So whatever happens, like, he put himself there.
And one of his previous tweets, like a couple tweets ago, was telling comedians who are applying for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival or starting that process to reach out to him, because he's very helpful to young comics. He's a very positive person to young comics.
Is that true?
It's super true, but to be that two-sided, how somebody can be on such opposite ends of the spectrum at the same time, it's shocking. There's something mental that warranted that response that he had, because that's way past just being a comic.
I don't know, maybe I'm sure he's got some mental illness or behavioral issues that he needs to sort out, but I have noticed this. I think there's always, like how comedy, there's just a camaraderie with other comics that you feel naturally.
Yeah.
And I think that's separate from, it's often separate from like how people are as real humans. Because we know a bunch of comedians that are like nice to their friends.
Yeah.
Or will do anything to help their squad, or, but they're also like not really great human beings.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is I forget how like extreme some of our some of us are, like, with hanging out with comedians, I don't think about it, but then someone who's like a non-comic comes and it's just like, oh, I can't bring this person out in public, like this is, and I'm sure people have felt that way about me around their families, but like, it's so I'm not, that's the thing, is I'm not about censorship. He can say whatever he wants. It's just like, that's gonna be like a bit of a quagmire. Like you
Yeah.
just like the hours or like an hour. Was it even an hour?
No, and
You
I
know
even
when he
see,
posted that, so it's like you're
I think,
stirring the pot, to say
he
the
did
very
that.
least.
So he did that before he was even reported of if who else died. So I think he did that before they even reported that
Oh, the
that
kids.
his daughter was a part of the crash too. So it's like, and then after that he was like hacked. So I
but
mean
he
he did
he
that.
doubled down on it with it. He put it on Instagram. He did an Instagram video afterwards about it, like basically saying today is a great fucking day.
After he found out about the daughter.
Yeah, I mean after the daughter was already reporting it.
Yeah.
After it was reported that the daughter was involved. I mean, if he said this on a podcast,
Yeah.
I would be more accepting if he said this on a podcast or something. The thing is, he took to Twitter where people were publicly mourning. He brought it to the faces of the people that loved him the most. You know, he said it to their faces. If Louis did that Parkland shooting bit in front of the victims' families or people that in front of that community, not even their families, he was gonna get. I mean, he already got a negative response, but the response would be overwhelming as Ari's getting right now. I mean, death threats. No comic deserves death threats. You know, but I told Fizz earlier, I said, if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and
Sometimes you fuck with the wrong one.
yep. If
I
he
don't
said
know.
that, if he said that out here, if he said that walking down Figueroa to just a random person,
Well, also that also kind of makes you think, right? Like maybe he's just chicken shit. Like he's doing stuff for a response because he's protected in New York. You know what I mean? Like he's not in LA right now, so he has liberty to like to behave this way and be a Kobe hater on the worst day to be a Kobe hater publicly.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't know how much of this is calculated. I don't know how much of this it's just I don't know. And I wouldn't put it past someone like him who's been doing comedy forever, who knows how like social media algorithms work, who has a huge following, successful comedian, writer, all that. Like I wouldn't put it past him to like know what he's doing, you know?
yeah, no, this was calculated, but unfortunately for him, all it's gonna take is one person in New York who is a diehard that heard that comment to step up to him for him to deal with whatever happens. You know.
Well, yeah, I wonder
yeah.
now if he's in the crosshairs. Like, is his because you? I mean, what can people are crazy.
Oh yeah.
And like what we were talking about last episode, this is America is like this is the Wild West. This is Gotham. Like it just if someone really wants to do something to someone,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it's that
I mean,
is
It's DIY culture.
DIY for sure. You got to take matters into your own hands, honestly.
You got to book your own shows and you got to punch your own comics.
Yeah, yeah.
Were there some comics like not hating, but like upset with Ari publicly?
Oh yes, the entire Black LA community
Yeah.
and the entire Mexican LA comic community.
Yeah.
A lot of comics are like, Ari, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you being an idiot?
And
like,
even past that, we're posting threats to Ari.
yeah.
Posting threats to Ari. There's
Any
a lot
big
of
names?
I mean, I don't want to tell them.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the
I mean,
show.
but
I'll tell you
honestly,
after.
Yeah.
Honestly,
If it was
I don't know.
public.
Maybe, and this is maybe he is above all that. You know, like all of us hating on Ari right now, like none of us control his career.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't really know if any of this backlash is really going to hurt his career.
Well,
Maybe,
yeah.
I don't know.
I just wonder, is his life in danger? 'Cause it was-
probably not because all he has to do is hide out in one of his like rich friends' apartments or his own. I'm like he's doing pretty well for himself, so he's probably just hiding out in his apartment, you know, in New York. And
Yeah, but it just takes one. That's the big thing. It takes one, and when you're fucking with, I mean, if you look at the community that he's fucking with, and I mean, the level of vengeance. I mean, LA fans. I mean, look what they did. Look what Dodger fans did to Brian Stowe of at the Dodgers Giants game. You know, where they beat
but
him into.
I think all the diehard LA fans are here.
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure, for sure.
Are in LA. So I don't know if Ari is really going to be running into any LA Laker fans in New York. Like, I don't really think that's happening.
But he'll come to LA at some point.
He's bi-coastal. He comes back.
He is.
And
He does, but I don't think he's going to be stepping foot in LA for a while.
Okay.
I mean, what if one?
Well, that's
all
wise.
it takes is one comic, you know, stating his location and being like, "Yo, I just did a show with Ari at, you know, the Comedy Store. You should roll through."
Yeah, but here's what happens, right? Like, what's the worst thing that happens? Like, someone like steps up to Ari and like Ari gets assaulted. That person goes to jail. Ari just has to deal with the hospital probably for a little while.
But
Like, I don't think.
I don't think they see this is the biggest thing. To a lot of these people, Kobe was their god. You
Trust
know?
me, I know. I had a crying Kobe boyfriend.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
had a
yeah.
like I
Shout
had
out
to
to your
deal with
boyfriend.
that
He's dope.
yesterday when I landed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a big blow because Kobe really defined a whole like more than two generations of like of Laker fans. Like, he was a motivation for a lot of guys growing up in LA. A lot of like guys and girls growing up in LA to like be bigger, stronger, faster, follow your dreams, like, the work ethic. Like, a lot of people grew up like with Asher, like,
And that's
I
a
think he was
positive legacy. That
it
in
is.
itself
I
is
mean,
to
yeah.
inspire people, you
This
know.
whole his whole group of friends, like, I think they were in sixth, seventh grade when Kobe started in the NBA, and like they've basically become men following
Yeah.
Kobe and his legacy. Like, he's a big part of their lives. Like,
I'm sure there were a lot of grown men crying in public
I have
yesterday.
never, honestly, like, we've gotten, like, Asher and I have gotten into some fights before and stuff, but this was the first time where I've seen him, like, this upset and crying. And this, like, and I don't know if any other fans around the country, if there's anyone they take that, like, seriously, that's like a part of their journey. Like, I don't know anyone who I would cry that much over if they died. I mean, maybe Whitney Houston when she died. I don't know, but yeah,
He was
I don't
such
know.
a, I think he was sort of that anchor figure for a lot of young men.
Yeah, yeah, for
Maybe
sure.
young men who didn't have father figures or
He's a role model.
yeah.
He's a role
He
model.
was a role model. He was,
Um
despite all the controversy, he was a role model, and
And think of it
a lot of
too,
people.
when this controversy happened, like I was telling Fizza that the average age in the NBA is 26, which is how old I am. So when these allegations happened, I mean, we were 10,
yeah.
you know? We were
Yeah,
10 when the controversy. So we don't really know, like we know from like, looking back and hearing the stories about it. We all knew about it, but we were not affected by that as much as grown adults at the time who really had that tarnish his legacy because we were
yeah,
just kids. We didn't pay attention to that, and then all of a sudden, it's very minor to us.
It's complicated.
Hmm.
It's
it
definitely
is complicated, and it's a generational thing, right? Like,
yeah.
Ari was like a fully formed adult when this whole Kobe thing happened, and so that's why I think maybe I think him and Kobe might be the same age, or Ari might be a little bit older.
I think,
So it's
yeah, I
like,
think Ari's a couple years older.
yeah. So with Ari, it's like, dude, you're a 25-year-old man. You're a grown ass adult. Like, Kobe at the time was 25 when this happened.
Yeah.
So I think Ari was holding him to another level as like a grown ass adult. And then maybe Ari's like, hey, listen, like, assaulting women is not cool. If I can't do it, why is Kobe getting away with it?
Oh
Like, maybe
shit.
Funny. That's hilarious.
maybe it's like, maybe it's a lot of that hatred. Like,
Yeah.
maybe like, when I assault women, I have to go to jail. Why
'Cause-
does Kobe get
yeah,
away with it?
because I've never thought about him as like a big, advocate for women's rights. Ari.
No, but
So
like,
it's
I think it's more of like, it's the police of that generation, right?
yeah.
Like, hey, like, if we have to follow the rules, Kobe should have to follow the rules. But Kobe is above the law, and unfortunately, Kobe in LA was above the law. Like, and it sucks. It sucked. I think that's partially why I hated Kobe for a very long time until I saw him play.
Yeah.
And I had to separate Kobe the person from Kobe the athlete and the athletic role model and the sportsman that he is. Like, I had to separate the two because if you're going to hold, he's just on a different level. Like, MLK was a douchebag to his wife. Gandhi was a horrible person to his family. But like, all these men did amazing things for the world.
Yeah.
So
It's
I don't
Chappelle.
know.
Chappelle saying he rapes but he saves but he rapes. Not to compare him to Bill Cosby, but it's the same. It's the same
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why they say
premise.
don't meet your heroes because humans are
Well,
not perfect.
And if we've learned anything from this tragedy, like no matter how superhuman and what an elevated specimen of a human Kobe was, he was still a human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, that's like essentially what we learned out of yesterday's tragedy.
Well, it just is, you know, I think it's very human to understand the loss of a family member, if you
Yeah.
know, or to understand loss of love.
Yeah.
Or the
Yeah.
loss of someone of a loved one. So it's, you know, all in all, it's just a shocking, tragic, sad event.
Yeah, LA just feels different. Like yesterday when I landed, just it the whole so I it happened when I was on my flight.
Yeah.
So everybody was getting alerts. Everybody was getting alerts on their phone because we had Wi-Fi on the plane, and all of a sudden, like people were crying on the plane. It was like, yeah, like it was just a different energy. The like from the moment that happened, and nothing has lifted. Like everything is just, it's just there's a sadness in the air.
Yeah, I mean, we're in LA. This is sort of ground zero of, like, you
Yeah,
know, of Kobe fans,
yeah, it's
the
very
epicenter.
very very palpable.
But we got to wrap up, I think. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for calling. Do you want to help me finish this presentation?
What do I need to do?
I don't know. Probably like figure out a project schedule.
I don't know. I think that's above my pay grade.
I don't really. I'm so tired.
Yeah,
I'm so tired. Someone at work gave me busy work. This guy at work, he recently got promoted. We were peers.
Yeah.
And he got promoted because he cares. And, you know, he's been giving me random busy work to do over the past like month and a half, and it's about the same thing. So then Thursday night before we left for San Francisco, I left on Friday morning. Thursday afternoon, like literally at 4:50 p.m. You know, when I'm like ready to shut down, get ready like to pack and get ready for San Francisco for Sketchfest. He's like, "Hey, can you do this for me?" And this was like the fourth or fifth request that's like just busy work at this point. So I responded like, okay, fine. I've already done X, Y, and Z. You know, I guess okay, fine. I'll do this. I'll do this for you too. Do you also want my firstborn? and then he basically complained to my boss.
Jesus.
And then that was the issue, like the thing that I had to send emails for on Friday after I got in San Francisco.
Oh, so you've been dealing with this.
3 hours of sleep of like, all right, on my day off, let me deal with this bullshit. And then so this morning I talked to my boss, and my boss is just laughing. She's like, I don't know what his deal is, this sensitive ass douchebag, but I just want to tell you, you're doing great.
Good.
You're doing great. So basically just saying like his opinion doesn't matter, and like, but it's just like now I have to go do damage control and take care of this guy's ego, you know, when he's already being a pussy ass bitch.
Like handling men's gentle egos is like my least favorite thing. That and screaming babies.
I just
all right, I think we got the next session coming in, so we gotta.
Okay. Thanks for letting me vent.
Yeah, so we'll talk to you soon. I'll call you after this.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So this has been the Facial Recognition Comedy Podcast. I'm Fizza Dasani at Fizza Dasani. Pallavi couldn't make it today, but she's at Pallavi Gunalan. And really, Zara on all the platforms is where you can find Zara. Paul, where's your stuff?
Follow me at the Paul Antonio on everything. The Paul Antonio Show, also on the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast Network.
Dope. We have shows coming up. We're in LA the second Sunday of every month at Westside Comedy Theater. February 9th is our next show. We will be at New York Comedy Club this Friday, January 31st, 11:30 p.m. Make sure to use promo code FRC for $10 off. Tell your friends in New York. And we're back from Sketchfest. That was an awesome experience. Maybe we'll talk about it on the next episode. Thank you so much. We got another session coming in, so I got to bounce. But love you, Paul. Rest in power to everyone who lost their life in that tragic accident, and sending love to the families.
Yeah, be easy, LA.